Hi you guys, this is Carmen, aka Cassey Wolfe. Sorry it's been a while since I've done a video. I'll let you know what happened. My husband is a truck driver and I went trucking with him for 3 weeks, and I thought I could ride on the road, and I'm like, yeah, he's gonna be a truck driver, I'm gonna be driving, I'm gonna be there, I got myself my little desk, and I'm gonna, do you know how hard it is to type as you're hitting every single bump on the road? I said, this is not gonna work. So I didn't write, but I read. And so I get home and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna get back to my writing. I'm so excited. And I'm like, where's my laptop? I left my laptop on the truck, and he was gonna be gone for 2 weeks. So I was like, oh God. And I was like, oh no. And he's like, where he works is 2.5 hours from here in Dallas. And I was like, can we drive to Dallas to go get my laptop? I don't want it to get ruined. And then, you know, the heat and everything is going to fry my board or something. He's like, Carmen. And I'm like, please. And then he's like, oh my God, I'll bring it back. You know, it'll be like in 2 weeks. I'm like, well, my board better not fry. Something better not happen to my computer. So anyway, I was really worried, and every time he goes when he comes home, they work on his truck to make sure his truck's always like maintained and everything. And they worked on his truck, and thank God the guy forgot to roll up the windows. And when he got there, he's like, Carmen, they forgot to roll up the windows, and that's a good thing, so that way the air circulated and your board didn't fry, because we live in Texas where it's like 100 degrees all the time. So I was very happy. Somebody up there was watching over me. Thank you to my guardian angels, God, Jesus, the supreme being. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I was very excited, and now it's time to get back to writing. I do 2 things. You guys know that I'm very spiritual, very connected with my angels, and I believe everybody can connect with their angels because everybody has a guardian angel always guiding you, therefore you can connect with them. So anyway, I also have another channel where it's Carmen's Body, Mind, Spirit, and Soul, where I'm going to be doing a lot of soaps in there, and I'm also studying hypnotherapy. So it's going to take me a little while to finish my book. I'm trying to, like, in the meantime, I was doing my hypnotherapy, and so I could get everything ready so I can like concentrate on my book. And I want to thank my 1 subscriber I have. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for subscribing to me. I'm very excited. I can't wait for this channel to grow. And I'm going to be teaching people what I'm learning, how to write. Everything I know, everything I've read is on the links in the description. If you click those links, they link you to Amazon, and it really helps me to keep the channel going so I can earn a little extra money, so I can follow my dream to become a writer, and also make soaps on the side. That's what I do. I make soaps on the side to make some money. Anyway, so what I wanted to talk to you today is about telling and showing, and also shallow writing. So there's shallow writing, which also does the showing and telling, right? And writing on a deep point of view. So and I'm also going to mention, I did take a writing class a while ago, and I did the Longridge writing. I'm not affiliated with them, but it really helped me. One of the things I used to do a lot when I used to do the writing course is, and this happens, and I've seen this, I've read a lot of self-published books on Amazon, and some of them are very well written, and some of them do a lot of telling, and also like telling me what someone else is feeling when they're writing from their point of view. And I used to do that in the beginning. One thing that I learned was my teacher used to say, you cannot tell me what that person is feeling because you're not in their head. So you can't do that. You can only tell me what you're feeling because you're writing from that point of view. And then even then, it's not good to say, I was angry, you know, because that's me telling you, right? I'm angry. And you're like, oh, okay, you're angry. And so, but if I say my stomach clenched and contracted, or my stomach contracted as the fire inside backdrafted up to my heart, and sinister words came out of my mouth. You know what I mean, right? And or the sinister vocabulary that came out of my mouth. How dare you! As I clenched my hands and my body trembled. You know what I mean? I dug my fingernails deep and blood seeped through the cut that I created. Like something to that effect. That's more like, whoa, she's really pissed than, oh, I'm angry. Do you know what I mean? So can you see that showing is more impactful and powerful than just me telling you? And I'm also going to have like little exercises. I have something else I've written here, and I'm going to see if I can share it with you through my Google Docs. We'll see if that works. I don't know. I was asking my son, and he's like, I don't know, try it. So I'm very excited, and once again, thank you, my one subscriber. I can't wait till I get 100 subscribers and then go from there to 200, 300, 400, 500. I'm going to be really excited. Okay. All right, you guys. So I'm very excited. So the one way that I suggest is, if you want to write better, write more with the showing and a deeper point of view, is I want you to start paying attention to the emotions that you feel. I want you to pay attention when you're watching a movie or a video or something. Pay attention to the sensations that are going through you. Pay attention if you're watching a sad video. Pay attention to what's beginning to happen to you, so that way you can learn to transfer that into paper. Also, when you're seeing other people get upset or be happy, I want you to pay attention, study people. Start seeing how certain people behave, because remember, we're not all the same, and that can be inspiration to write a character in your book. Some people carry a little book with them all the time, and they take notes. My husband was watching that movie with Will Ferrell, and it had Mel Gibson and Mark Wahlberg, about stepdads or something like that, and the girl was writing, and she always kept a little book with her. That was a good idea. Or some people have a recorder, whatever you'd like to carry with you. You know where is one awesome place to study people is when you go to the grocery store. When you go, pay attention to how people are how they're behaving, especially in line. Or when you go to theme parks or to the park or swimming pool, wherever you have to stand in line, that's where you can really study people. When you're at the dentist or the doctor, anywhere where you have to sit there and wait, study people. Or also remember how your family members or people you know are and act, how they react to certain situations. Write them down, and that helps you with certain characters. One of the other ways that I suggest is, when you're writing so you can avoid telling, is pretend you are on the phone describing it to someone, or you're describing it to somebody who can't see, who might be blind or something. You can describe to them how the person is reacting, what their expression is, their body language. Like if you just say, she was happy, she was so happy, you should have seen how happy she was. Right? They're like, oh really, she was happy? But if you tell your friend, oh, she opened that gift, you might say, but don't say this in writing, okay? Because when you say she's excited, that's a word, and it's already telling you about an emotion, right? So you could say, she hastily ripped the gift box open, right, shredding it to pieces, and her Joker smile widened as she pulled the new iPhone she picked up, and her eyes bulged out. Do you know what I mean? That's more like, and she grabbed the iPhone and pressed it against her chest and began to jump up and down, and her little pigtails flopped. You know what I mean? Like, that's being descriptive, right? That's actually showing you, like, you're actually imagining this. Then if I just said, she was so happy, thank you, so excited, right? So I want you to be descriptive. And as I said, one of my favorite books, that if you want to know how to describe things, is this one. Even though it's a romance writing book, and as I mentioned before, all my writing resources are in the bottom and they're linked. So I could say on here, right, like you could put words and phrases that describe the back. So let's say I wanted to write, as you know, I'm a romance writer. I wanted to write something about his back. Let's say you're in the swimming pool with your friends and you're hanging out, and you can describe, someone handed me a napkin, right? And as I see, and then, oh, you're like, ooh, he's so hot, but you just don't want to say, oh, he's so hot, this hot guy. You want to describe the guy and what you see first. Begin from there. So let's say I wouldn't be saying back. I would be saying chest. His pecs, right? So that's the first thing that me, of course, when I see someone, the first thing I notice for some reason is their smile and their eyes. So you can go ahead and come over here and describe, let's say, the skin. So it says verbs that describe the skin. Breathe in, breathe, bruised, burrowed, caressed. So you can put like, my eyes caressed his chest as the, I don't know, you know, his, my eyes caressed his, the mountain or the hill, the hills that made that, how about the hills that, I'm trying to say, the hills that outlined his chest. I have a little kitten, he's making noise. Or I skimmed over, smoothed over, stared at, stroked. Ooh, you could say my eyes stroked his muscular chest. You know what I mean? Like, you could be something like that. You can do something like that. It's kind of fun and cheesy when you do the writing. Do you know what I mean? Like his stomach, right? You can put down descriptive combinations. Oh, look at this. A heavy weight settled in my stomach. Don't have the stomach for it. I don't have the stomach for it. They also say don't do cliches. My stomach curled, dove, felt sensitive, felt sick, fluttered. But one of the things I was told is don't put felt, because that's telling me something. Describe it to me, right? If it felt sick, like if I say, oh, I felt sick, that's really not telling me much. How do you feel when you feel sick? What sensations? Give me the sensations that you're feeling that let me know you're sick. Describe it to me. So basically, a lot of showing is describing. Just describe everything. Okay, so now we have words and phrases from the lips. So let's see. Alluring. So you wanted to be describe someone's lips. Alluring. Petulant. Plump. Pouty. Thin. Wet. Verbs, things lips can do: advance, buttoned, curled, rested upon, widened, wet, zipped. Verbs, things that can be done with lips. There's a lot of words. I'm just picking a little bit. Brought to, liked, nibbled, squeezed together, touched, wiped. So you have a lot to describe the mouth. So that was the lips. Let's see the mouth. Alluring, there it is again. Firm, gorgeous, small, mouthed, descriptive combination, lush sweetness of her mouth, melt in her mouth, stainy soft of her mouth, satiny, sorry, that's satiny, soft of her mouth. Verbs, things the mouth can do: anchored, angled, closed, compressed, forced onto, gaped, suckled, surrendered, words left, wrapped around. So these are I really like this. Now, if you want to, let's just say happy. This is one of the other ones that I like, the emotional thesaurus. It's good to have all of them. I have them on Kindle, and then I'm getting them so that way I can, most of these things describe them. So let's see somebody who is excited. Let's see if someone who is excited. Being stalked, being teased, being victimized, witnessed, a physical dysfunction, emotional. Let me see. Being a victim. Oh, I think I got the psychological here, like what happens to people who are tortured. So let's go back. So we're not going to be using the emotion thesaurus. Writer's Guide to psychological. This is psychological. So it lets you know how people who have had certain traumatic events in their life, how they react to certain things. So let's say, which one do we have here? And I'm just going to give you an example. They go into a lot of psychological things. So let's say someone who's lost a limb, right? Losing a limb due to a birth defect, a vehicle accident, a farming accident, frostbite, an injury, false beliefs that can be embraced. Now, these are just some of the examples. I will never be whole again. The life I wanted to live is over. I'm a burden to my family and everyone else. Everyone's better than me. They're better off without me. And then the character may fear the judgment or pity of others, losing their independence, being unable to provide for their family, possible responses and results, struggling with phantom limb pain, not taking chances, always making safe choices, withdrawing from others, becoming isolated, PTSD, getting stuck in one of the stages of mourning, personal traits, attributes: ambitious, appreciative, disciplined, independent. So this is something some people might do. Some people become more independent, and others, the flaws could be controlling, defensive, hostile, resentful. Do you remember what happened to Lieutenant Dan? By the way, I love him because he's got the Lieutenant Dan band, and he does a lot for our military. He gave a free concert here in Fort Hood, and it was amazing. I love him, Gary Sinise. So triggers that might aggravate this wound is facing prejudice, persecution, or pity from others regarding one's disability, having to return to the hospital even for an unrelated issue, wanting to help in a situation but being unable to because of one's disability. Opportunities to face or overcome. A dream becoming achieved if one is willing to alter it to fit one's capabilities. being in a position to inspire others. I've seen a lot of people that have lost limbs or don't have limbs being an inspiration to a lot of people. So this is just some of the ones. I was seeing the one, let's see, getting dumped, right? We've all been there. So let's see. Basic needs often compromised by this wound. Love and belonging, esteem and recognition. False beliefs that could be embraced. My judgment is flawed for not seeing this coming. It's better to be alone than to risk this kind of pain again. I'll always be alone. So the character may fear rejection by others, never finding true love, that there's something different about them that contributed to the rejection, possible responses and results, periods of hopelessness, difficulty adjusting to being single, jealousy and anger if one's ex-partner moves on before one does, pessimism about life in general, personality traits that may form adaptable, analytical, bold, optimistic, patient. Flaws can be callous, childish, resentful, whiny, withdrawal. Triggers that may aggravate this wound. Being surrounded by couples with one's group of friends, I bet that'll do it for some. I know when my husband was either gone to war or by himself, in Korea, or when he went to Iraq or wherever he went, and I'd be with the kids and we'd go to the restaurant and I'd see a family, I'd miss my husband. So starting a new relationship and seeing warning signs, real or perceived, that things aren't going well. Opportunities to face or overcome this wound. Going through another breakup for the same reason cited by one's ex. Being in a long-term relationship that isn't working and realizing that it needs to end. So this is such a good writing source. This one, and the S.A. Sewell books, which I've listed below. She really goes into talent versus showing and writing deep POV. So one of the best ways so you can get into writing deep point of view is I want you to describe to me, to your readers, what emotions people are going through. So I don't know if I mentioned this. The best way to do is when you're standing in line or when you're in the office or in the park, somewhere, pay attention to how people are reacting and how they behave. Even in movies, when you're watching movies and videos, see how people act to certain things and how they behave, and write it down in your little journal. To me, what I do is when I'm writing is when we go through trials, we learn a lot, and we learn to empathize and sympathize with others, right? So what I do is I remember those feelings. I get in touch with that feeling and write down all the sensations and feelings, and I also imagine my characters there. So I'll also, like, if I'm writing from my main point of view, it's like I become her, so I allow her to come into me. So what you can go ahead and do is pretend, see that this is what a lot of mediums do too when they're talking to divine spirit, and those that have crossed over from the light, is you allow yourself, so you see an image of the person, you allow that person to come into your space. So allow that person. So picture that person morphing with you. So that's what I do with my characters, is I picture them coming into and becoming me. And then I live that expression. I express the sensations and the feelings that I'm feeling. Don't remember, if you're telling, it's when you put I saw, I felt, I heard, I knew. So when you say the five senses, see, feel, hear, touched. So don't put those in your vocabulary. Get rid of them. Describe to me what you felt. Describe to me what you saw. Describe to me what you heard. Describe to me the feeling and sensations going through your characters, and that gives you a greater point of view. It also gives you better. You don't do shallow writing. You write on deep POV. So get in touch with those emotions and pretend you are describing it to somebody who can't see. Also, one thing you can go ahead and do is to feel too is put a blindfold or just close your eyes and feel whatever you want to describe. So feel the bottle, how it feels, and touch it. Feel what the banana feels like, or the pear, and pay attention to the senses going on, and pay attention to what's going inside of you. This is also great exercises if you want to develop your clairvoyance, clairaudience, your psychic abilities and mediumship abilities. So these are also great ways that you can go ahead and do these things. And so start paying attention. And like I said, when you go to stores, pay attention to people, how they react. Remember how people react. Also pay attention to TV shows and see how people have grown. See how you have grown. See how someone you may have known as a child and how they're growing. That's also a great character arc, how your characters are growing. And express that in your writing. Describe those feelings and express that in there too. One of the things that also inspire me to write, and if you're having trouble like writing, is my daughter does this and I do it too, and it really helps me, is using songs. What's one of your favorite songs? She has Spotify, I think, and it recommends her a bunch of songs, and you can have a song per chapter, or a song that describes the emotion as your character, your hero's journey, as your hero is going through their journey, as they're growing. Choose a song or two or three, and that also helps you with writing your story structure. It helps you with writing your scenes. You can choose a song for each scene, and that way you can hear that song, you can feel it. I start like imagining right away. You can start imagining right away, or you can do a storyboard, so if you want to, like, you're like, God, I don't know what to write, or I don't know what to do with this character, start listening to your songs or recommended songs. Even on YouTube will recommend some songs that you're listening to and bring others to you, and have that inspire you. How does the song make you feel? And so hopefully you can also say, if I feel this, or pretend you're your character and take note of those feelings, so you can go ahead and write them down as you're doing your story. So I have an exercise right here that I did, and I'm going to see if Google Docs works. But so this is a little short story, or a little short descriptive, plus it helps you with your word length, So it's telling and showing, or telling and shallow writing with showing and deep point of view. It's an example. So this is a telling, because I hear that a lot of people have a hard time understanding what showing. So remember, showing is describe to me what's happening. Don't just tell me. Describe to me what the person is feeling, how they're reacting. Are they narrowing their eyes? What is their body doing? Their body language, all that stuff, okay? Because you're not in their head, you can't tell me, but you can see how they're reacting. Now, when you're writing under your character, don't tell me either. Let me feel it, right? Let me feel you. Okay, so anyway, let's say telling and shallow writing with showing and deep POV. Okay, so here we go. Here's an example. Mark was angry at me for telling Lucy he liked her. I mean, everyone in school knew he liked her by the way he looked at her. I felt bad that he was angry at me, but I had to do something, especially because he wanted to ask her out to prom. So, I also forgot to tell you that a lot of people, it's important to write with voice. Give your story a voice. At first I was like, voice, what's that? What is it? It's write it with a personality. You know how you see some actors that are like, oh no, please don't do this. Stop. Why? Help me. Some people actually write like that. Right? Anyway, I do love it when I see movies like that because I don't know, they make me laugh and I just love it. Or when they're doing shows that make fun of that kind of writing, I like TV shows that deliberately do it. I love it. So, versus like, then when somebody, like, oh, what do you think you're doing? I don't think so. You better stop if you know what's good for you. So they already have the little attitude. You kind of get like my little personality. That's got a voice. Does it make sense? And that's how some people talk. So put it that way on paper. Don't just say, she said stop. And Lucy said, stop, don't. Lucy cocked an eye, wiggled her neck, raised her finger, right? She raised her finger and said, you better not be doing that to me. Pressed her lips and said, as she moved her neck side to side. That's descriptive, right? Okay. So here's the example again. Mark was angry at me for telling Lucy he liked her. I mean, everyone in school knew he liked her by the way he looked at her. I felt bad that he was angry at me, but I had to do something, especially because he wanted to ask her out to prom. So that's shallow writing. Now, those of you who've had their friend tell the person they like know exactly how Mark is feeling. Deep POV and showing with a voice example. So remember what voice is. The bite of my sandwich dropped like a cannonball to the pit of my gut, sending pounding aftershocks to my heart. Weakness infested my whole body, and I was finding it difficult sitting up straight. I bit my lip as I swallowed the wet boulder stuck in my throat. I'd really done it this time, and it was taking a lot of effort on my part to look up at Mark, sitting across the cafeteria table. Like a mood ring, his tanned face turned scarlet red, his nostrils flaring as his chest fell and rose. And if I saw the slightest movement, I was going to run. I had to force the words out of my mouth. They knew better than me to come out, but I dragged them out anyway. Mark, I had to do it. You wanted to ask her to prom. With a cold razor stare and stiff jaw, he growled, You're not doing me any favors, Faith. You didn't have to tell her anything. My skin prickled with a freezer burn sensation running down my arms and back, letting out a sigh. I swear I saw condensation leave my mouth. Everyone knows you like her. Everyone, I murmured. I'm gonna look at her from the corner of my eye isn't fooling anyone. And by the way, she's known since last year you liked her. I raised an eyebrow. What? Yeah, you're that obvious. Now, I was the one tightening my jaw. Would you care to know what she said, or are you just going to jab me with your stares? So, that is, can you kind of see I gave her a little voice too in there? Can you see how that's more deep pop? Because she's feeling like, oh, snap. I really did it this time. But like she wants to help him to let her know that he likes her or that he liked the girl. And it turns out she likes him too. That's what it turns out to. But I wanted to give that like, oh, snap. Have you ever done something where you just feel so weak? And it's like, oh, your stomach is churning. I've always paid attention to my sensations in my body. Like, oh, crap. So when you want to write that, I want you to remember put yourself in that place. I want you to write down and experience everything. You could take little notes. What did it feel like when you were in that oh shit moment, right? That's what I call it. Like, I really did it this time. My friend's really pissed off. Then I want you to remember when you were pissed off at someone for doing something or telling someone something. So go with those emotions and describe them, so that way you write from a deeper point of view. Now, some people say just write, and then go back and change. I can't. I have to be like descriptive and then go back and change it, and then go back and change it, and then go back and change it. That's usually how I do it. But I really do hope this helped you. I'm going to see if it allows it to put on there. If not, I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste it and put it in the description if you want to see it. And see how you can improve something. See how you can write this better. The Mark was angry at me. And remember those feelings when maybe someone told something that you didn't want anybody to know. And remember those feelings of how you felt. Or remember those feelings of how you, also when you told someone something, sometimes maybe even to help them out. Like, you know what? Or you thought you were helping them out. What sensations were you feeling? Or once, just remember what it was like to feel those sensations and describe them without telling me what word, you know what I mean? Without telling me the word. Like, she was angry. I want you to take the word angry, and I want you to describe to me what angry is, the sensations. Do it that way. So say, get rid of angry. And what is angry? What are the sensations? Describe them to me. Describe to me how a person behaves. Remember how your dad was when he was angry. Your mom was, your friend, your cousin, the teacher, a classmate, someone in the movie that you saw. So I think this is, the more I'm doing this, I'm like, this is how actors must do it. I'm not an actor, but and pay attention to how you're feeling when you're seeing movies. Pay attention to how you're feeling when you're feeling happy, when you're feeling sad. Start paying attention to those emotions, or recall those emotions. Or you might ask a friend that maybe you've never been through it, but ask your friend how she felt, or he, if you know someone's been through something, or watch documentaries as to how someone felt, what they experienced. And it's great for character arc and character development. So I really do hope that this did help you. I might do another video as to how to write. So I did tell you about like listening to music, and hopefully that helps you with your scenes. It's because I did another video and I deleted it, so I'm hoping that everything's in there. To use music and or use poetry to inspire you to write something, or short stories, or a commercial, or something, to inspire you, or your dog, or, anything. But thank you so much. Please share, like, and subscribe. And if you want to buy the resources that I've used, please click on the link below, because it does help me a little bit with some money. Every little bit helps, and I'm very thankful for everything. And I want to thank my one subscriber. Thank you. I was so happy. So, all right, you guys, and I will be doing more videos. Take care and be creative and write, and pay attention to your feelings and sensations so you can write deeper point of view. Bye.